Welcome back, OGN Legion. Yep, that was one hell of a game. 74 minutes long, I believe, in the end, and it was BBQ Olivers who have brought us to a game number 3. SKT looked like they were going to be able to hold on forever. In the end, it was about 4 auto attacks, and that Nexus was dead.
But if you rewind a lot further back, Atlas, if you think about where the game really turned, because SKT, you know, looked like they could close that 2-0. That Baron they stuffed up, the Baron where they started it and allowed the enemy Jax to pop in way too easily, get the steal, and from there, made some more mistakes, did Blossom. Some good play from BBQ. Took a very comically long time to end because that's just how it goes when Sivir and Azir are on the same team, and congratulations to Crazy on the Gnar. He didn't have an early fun time, but look at that rune, the Gathering Storm!
That's how it was. Was he like the only one that brought the Gathering Storm?
We need to know.
Who knows?
What
is the Gathering Storm count, OGN?
The Gathering Storm seems to be 70+ minute games. I'm seeing it on the horizon. Some nice play here from Crazy in the team fight phase. It's very difficult to pick an MVP, really, for either team.
Or an MVP moment, really, because this was
one of the times Blossom unfortunately showed his rookie status. I'm unsure whether he'll be playing in this game. I'm actually not privy to there's been any roster changes. We'll find out very soon. It went on and on. It was the song that never ended. As, BBQ, this was a very nice move from Crazy. This time around, fail flash from FLICKR. Small mistakes on the side of SKT. This was the one where Crazy got in the back line, just obliterated FLICKR in mini-Gnar form. Mini-Gnar in the late game does sick damage, and he had to play the Ruin King.
Adaptive Helm also such a great item against the Azir. You can see like the damage just stopped happening after a little while, so Crazy deserved of that MVP, but some anger on the face of FLICKR.
That's a gift right there, but we'll take a deep breath, and we have to reset. Both teams have to reset.
Yeah.
Looking like there's not actually going to be any substitutions on either side, so Blossom will get an entire set to himself. The good has outweighed the bad, but unfortunately when games go that long and a couple of mistakes can decide it, ended up being decided. So game 3 in BBQ Olivers and SK Telecom T1, same rosters for all 3. What do these two teams make sense of the madness we've seen unleashed on Summoner's Rift so far? And one thing that stays, one piece of sense that SKT will not abandon is banning away Alistar from IgNar.
Yeah. It's in fact probably muscle memory at this stage. Pretty easy to tell IgNar that he's not going to be playing that one, and also seems pretty easy for BBQ to ban the Ryze and the Zoe. So far, their first couple of bans every single time.
It's like the kind of game where Galio could emerge, and that usually does speed up the game one way or the other.
Should be the final ban for BBQ if game number 1 is anything to go by.
Ban
but
Azir.
A lot of respect.
Could ban Azir and first pick Galio. But no, they will go with the old script, so no change on the blue side for BBQ. So far, the Gnar, as you mentioned, means that one of Sejuani and Kassadin, but you just banned Sejuani, not really that worried about Kassadin, I'd imagine, in this game. So Sejuani is the expected ban. Does SKT try to roll the dice? Coma is sometimes very creative, where there's bans on red side in particular, and metas where we had auto bans. They would not opt into them and go super late. What is the decision here? See a nod of the head. It will be Kalista banned away. So Sejuani is a very obvious first pick, but both these junglers, while they play Sejuani, usually look for the more combative champion. So if we see a Sejuani first pick, do we see Blossom jumping on something super aggressive to try to punish it? The Sejuani kind of obviously transcribed here. The Gangplank also available, but who will have the Ultra Stall seems to be the question, and they don't want to deal with FLICKR on Azir again, and we will see the Azir claim. So Sejuani and Gangplank could be the red side draft here by SKT.
Which could be very, very strong as well. Ezreal still having that priority. Will it be Ezreal Gangplank? They just lock in the Kleptomancy and move forward. Sounds dangerous though to leave up the Sejuani with the Azir already there.
No changes on patch 8.2 for the Sejuani. 8.3, no, it's already out. So there will be changes in the future. But they're going to claim the Ezreal over everything else. Their mobility prized above potential damage output or something like a Kog'Maw. I think BBQ might be going towards a Kog'Maw. It's a big favorite of Ghost. You can have Azir peel for him as well, but could also be something like a Varus lane focused. So many things up in the air because of the crazy long game, and after banning Kassadin red side early, they are going to take the Kassadin into the Azir. Definitely something that post 6 in the lane can work, and FLICKR has already had a legendary game on the Kassadin. You are really giving up a lot of lane control to make this happen.
And why do you pick the Kassadin then why not just pick the Sejuani? They're not going to pick a Kassadin away from you.
Well, they don't want Sejuani, clearly, is the answer to that question, Atlas. They want to get a combat lead onto the jungle.
The classic Aatrox counter pick.
I feel like Aatrox's not that far away from competitive play. It's not going to be in this game, obviously, but I think it's less of a troll pick than perhaps the Harvester. I think Teemo is more the troll pick these days.
Yeah, I think so.
It's going to be the Gangplank, so can also ban away some matchups with the Gangplank to deal with, but already feeling experimental. Feels like we're getting an art film after a couple of epics.
Just feel like BBQ have gotten the better of it at the beginning of this draft anyway. We'll see what comes together here for SKT, but it was in the end the Kleptomancy combo.
I wonder if we would see a Jinx on blue. So I think Jinx would actually be really strong against what SKT have drafted so far.
Especially with the front line that BBQ already have.
Jinx not great against Kassadin, but if she gets rolling, obviously, then things could be very powerful and everyone else is squishy, so those crit rockets are going to be doing crazy damage. But Kog'Maw looks like it's going to be left available, and another consideration for BBQ. For a long time on the bans. So far, against Gangplank, Gnar and Vladimir both denied. So are they going to force Crazy into, say, an Orange, into a tank, and potentially have the 4-1 split push as a big option, or 1-3-1 as Kassadin and Gangplank, if they're both ahead, can just decide a game by forcing too many resources from BBQ to answer each one.
Could be really hard for SKT to get any sort of siege happening, though, in this game. So far,
kind of
damage
already,
dealers,
looking impossible.
not with a lot of range. Yeah, exactly.
It's 1-3-1 town for SKT. That's where they're living.
Yeah. BBQ, of course, understanding that completely now. We'll see what they do to actually pivot in order to deal with it. The Rengar would be the standout.
Do we see a Tom Kench ban here on blue side? Not fantastic against Azir, but certainly against Sejuani and Braum, we do see the Tom Kench ban, and that's a smart one, given what SKT want to do. If you want to run a run 3-1, if you have two people split pushing and then a Tom Kench, it's very hard to collapse on the 3, so that's a smart ban. Now SKT, looking for support, and also the jungle. They're going to counterpick support, try to get a good lane for the Ezreal.
Wanting to understand exactly what they're dealing with, I don't mind it.
I think it's probably just going to be Cinderhulk, so going to be similar to Sejuani in Impact, but I guess Blossom could bring back the Warrior enchant on the Jarvan. We'll wait and see. Less explosive. That's just a lock-in Vayne. Nerfed Vayne
this is nerfed Vayne as well, so growth stat and the attack speed, not quite there anymore.
So Ghost and Solo Q was still playing a lot of Vayne. I remember mentioning it to you, Atlas. In my notes, I have the champions play, then brackets Vayne question mark. And it's Vayne exclamation point, apparently, as the Vayne is locked in. I feel like Jinx and Kog'Maw could both have been considered, but you have the Tumble to deal with the Jarvan Cataclysm. Looking for the ability there. It's a good lane into the Ezreal. Camille going to be the decision into Gangplank.
And was banned, actually. Game number 1 as well of the series. Final ban for SKT, so slipping that one through, and Crazy going to have that counter matchup availability.
How crazy does Wolf go here? As he could just go for a teamfight choice, which would be the Taric, would also mean sustain. Or he could go for a range support to try to punish the Vayne. It would be a very situational thing. But previous to today, his only win previously was on Soraka, you'll remember. Yeah. But he will be jumping on the Taric. So teamfight from SKT is going to be a delay game. They want FLICKR to hit level 16 and then be able to realm warp. Sorry, I should say rift walk everywhere. Sorry, we've had a lot of warping happening.
Yeah, we're warping a lot, yeah.
Walking and warping. It's going to be all about the rift walk and getting into the backline, getting access to the Vayne. This is not a Malzahar draft for the Vayne to deal with. We've seen Vaynes try to tumble in, Deft for example, and be thwarted by a Malzahar. Still going to have to be difficult in team fights, but you hit 2 lifesteal items and potentially good things can happen for BBQ. Yeah. Such a surprise after Vayne took a very heavy nerf on patch 8.2, and Relic Shield means that her laning phase is no longer as safe as it was when it was double Relic Shield. So for a lot of reasons, Vayne was thought to be pushed out. Jinx was supposed to be the new Vayne. Kog'Maw still exists, not nerfed on patch 8.2. But Ghost is going to go with what works against the Cataclysm and also what's been working for him in solo queue. To me, it's a bold risk. Yeah, it's a bold risk, but there's only the Dazzle for hard CC. So look, if you're going to take the risk, now would be the time to take it, and also valuing that counter matchup into the Ezreal as well. Sort of has been a tale as old as time as far as Vayne into Ezreal is concerned. Hit level 6, and Final Hour really does allow you to shove him out, but BBQ have a lot of if bot lane goes even, they have a lot of options to try to punish Kassadin scaling, actually make things happen. Faker went heavy on scaling last time he played the Kassadin. It was like a 25-minute Rod of Ages. Let's see what they make of it here. BBQ will try and close this one early, even with a Vayne. Still frightening, and I feel like scaling is exactly what you want after what was a marathon last time. Let's get into game number 3 of BBQ versus SKT.
Oof. Okay. SKT fans really wanting them to turn it around. Seems to be the red shorts working out for both of these teams so far today. Does speak well for SKT, but we'll be able to see how difficult it is to lane now on the Kassadin, now that the Null Sphere does proc minion aggro.
Yeah, I like that you bring that up. The big change there that hasn't really been discussed much today because of the champion pool. The Vladimir Q was the last one we had that was relevant there, but here, the Kassadin Q is seen as a big nerf. So basically when Kassadin used to walk up and use his Q for lane control, basically queuing the enemy, and some of them being at full health as a pretty hapless melee carry in the Kassadin, it didn't use to draw minion aggro. The minions, enemy minions wouldn't turn on you for using a targeted single target spell. But now they do. So there is the chance that you basically go through extra life because you're going to take minion aggro a lot as Kassadin. You don't have a lot of wave control until you have 5 points in your Q and your E, really, for wave clear and also poking. So theoretically, Kassadin matchups got even harder. The Kassadin one is one where the Azir one is one where you're already taking a lot of trade damage as a melee champion. So we're going to have to be a pretty heavy investment into regen to get the Kassadin to the spot he wants. And you do notice he starts heal, goes unsealed spellbook, and will be trying to have to teleport back to lane, kind of like Corki was doing in the previous game.
Shout out to Bang. 15.4 CS per minute in the last game.
I mean,
not bad.
He's against 3 minion waves pushing in for multiple minutes as a Sivir, so.
Nah, just I need to do a play-by-play thing where I look at a stat and I'm like, that's a cool stat.
Cool stat, bruh.
Cool stat. I think so. Okay.
We've had some very facetious numbers this season when it comes to CS per minute, things like that.
And also the all-time stats that are just so weird to comprehend.
That's because now is the best time to watch video games, Atlas. 2018.
Yeah!
It's where all the
now
history is being made.
Now is the longest you can possibly watch video games as well. People thought 8.2 was a time where the games are going to be shorter. Hell no, says SKT.
And SKT, it's weird because what? An hour and a half ago we were talking about how they might be studying their season. Now things are looking unclear.
Now it's going to take a long time to study their season.
Yeah, well, it's true. The VOD review is going to take hours and hours.
They must really love VOD review.
Atlas, we can't go insane. We still have a super hype best of 3 after this.
No, don't worry.
We have to rein it in somehow. I feel your pain, trust me.
We'll have an energy drink, and we'll be ready. KT versus Kingzone, but we do have another series happening right now. It's crazy. Already putting a lot of pressure onto Thal. Looking at that hook shot, see whether he can make things work, but Blossom is feeling pretty raised.
Season 8 in, it's going to be death. Crazy. We can't see his cooldowns right now.
Yeah. Oh, good flash. Weird interaction, but does get the red buff. Flash is still available for Crazy, so he's not going to die here, and in fact, doesn't have to use the flash either.
Crazy showing his veteran status, not blowing the flash, living to fight another day, can come back up. It was a nice gank path from Blossom, but he gives up his flash, and Bono, even on the Sejuani side of a matchup, can now invade with reckless abandon and not really be too worried about a collapse.
Yeah. Okay, teleports back in. It's an early teleport. Only gets himself a shield, as well as his drink. His Comet Camille really has been the option. Wouldn't have assumed that that would have been the thing. But
it's pretty standard in the meta right now for lane control, just because W is non-committal in melee matchups, and you just W Comet. You only need level 1 in W, but you're still getting lane control with the low cooldown on the Comet, so it's become pretty standard, but the press of the attack that people would have theorized preseason has kind of been a jungler-only thing. Only Jax and the Shyvana picking that one up. Yep. Poke trades are always stronger than all-in trades because you can poke on a 10-second cooldown. Having enough vision to actually auto 3 times on any champion just doesn't happen reliably enough, and that's why it's all about the poke for the Camille.
Yep, not going to be bursting anyone from full health or anything like that, unless he gets into the back line. Some sort of team fight late. Thal picks himself up the Sheen.
Hunter's Potion on both junglers. Okay, that's a thing.
Very quick, too.
Don't see it very often in competitive play. You're just a sign that you're behind, but both of them want to stay topped up and healthy, worried about potential invades. FLICKR just wants a forever laning phase, and for now, he's going to get to level 6 pretty freely. Feels good about that.
Look at those minions. They got so mad at him. Actually, sort of ended up not quite winning the trade there either.
Here's something interesting. FLICKR does not have presence of mind this game. He actually has sorcery. So he does not have the precision tree to go into presence of mind. Very interesting. So I imagine Gathering Storm was the take there to justify not going into
I feel like it's so valuable.
Yeah.
But there's a decent knock-up, but Blossom
He's dead.
can't actually get out from under here.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
That's a bad look.
Dear.
That's not the play you make when your flash is down. Tempt was really smart on his feet there, but too easy. You hear a bit of a hush among the crowd. Most of them SKT fans. He done messed up.
He did. And you can see FLICKR didn't want a bar of it.
He hit level 6 off the last creep. Blossom didn't adjust and died. There's no getting out. You just watch him walk away. No swag walks for that Jarvan. Awkward stuff here. Blossom gave a lot in game 1. Made some critical mistakes in game 2. Now will need to steady himself. They still have scaling. The game is not over, but when you're playing your first professional series in front of a packed crowd, difficult mistake to deal with.
Okay. We have a check-in with the bottom side of the map. Bang, understandably, is in control. Has the Dream first back as well with the Tyr and Sheen. But Ghost is doing fine. Still hasn't actually gone back to base yet. Okay, Crazy gets the stun on Blossom. Jumping over the wall. Tempt should be able to shift some sands to get in here. And is he going to get another one? Yes, he is. Bono doesn't get himself an assist, and the Cannon Barrage does nothing. BBQ Oliver's off to a brilliant start. And I feel like we see this every time. The team that's able to win in that marathon, game number 2, often carries that momentum into game 3.
When it rains, it pours, Atlas.
Yeah.
The 2 tiers on SKT's bot lane might be a prophecy. That was a very poor time for him to be into the river. And great presence of mind from Crazy. Just turns on him instantly, all-ins, flashes over the wall. He had 2 people backing him up. There wasn't going to be no backup. You cannot walk up to do objectives when you're not going to have any response from your laner. And it's Kassadin. He doesn't have much mana. He's trying to get through a difficult laning phase. There will never be a scenario where Kassadin will react first in a scenario like that. So another real mistake, you'd have to say, from Blossom. Puts them even further behind in the early game.
Yeah, and you know, the only thing that we've really got to go on here for Blossom is his solo queue and things like that. His best win rate by far was actually that Sejuani. Still, we have to remember that it was the Kassadin locked in that second pick. Just find it real curious.
It doesn't matter what champion is playing Atlas. It was just honestly big mistakes. Like the mid lane gank, when his flash is down, you don't do it. The Jarvan is as safe as can be. Every jungler in the world has played plenty of Jarvan. It's been a cornerstone of the meta forever. I understand that they're prizing something for FLICKR over Blossom. They should. He's FLICKR. He does believe he can solo carry on this Kassadin. He's done it this season. But decision-making is what is letting down Blossom, rather than anything to do with his champion.
Yeah. Well, Bono's not going to be able to discover this ward, so free information given over to SKT. Gold is still extremely close. About 300. Thank you very much, Kleptomancy. So SKT is still going to be fine. Tumble gets Ghost out of the way of the Dazzle.
And even register it. But Tempt actually picked up both kills here.
Yeah.
So Nashor's Tooth is going to be comically early. He might have it soon. It's going to go Sorcery Shoes to punish the mid lane more. Not sure about Boots 2 when it's already the best part of an Abyssal Mask complete for FLICKR, but that is the decision here.
Yeah, Negatron Cloak really does help out. Blossom used his... Oh, no, never mind. Okay, that was confusing.
It's okay. Watch top lane here. All in on Thal.
Yep, hookshot comes in. He's golden within the goldenness. Flash comes out, but there was already an ult from Bono, and they will be able to grab the Gangplank. Third kill for BBQ. This one onto the Camille.
Story as old as time. Why not target out the rookies? They're just coming off a heartbreaking 74-minute loss. Watching for first the enemy jungler, now the top laner. SKT will take an Infernal, which, judging on game 1, could be worth basically everything when the game goes ultra long. But we mentioned in Champ Select, despite having the Vayne and the Azir, BBQ want to play a shorter game here, so they're happy to take the trade of immediate gold for scaling, because they don't want the scaling to be the decider with how much Kassadin can influence this game as it goes on.
Yeah. FLICKR now the Catalyst as well, so should be able to keep that mana in check if he stays fighting with Tempt. See, he's actually going down relatively low, but the parity as far as CS against a 2-0 Azir in the mid lane is a testament to FLICKR keeping a clear head.
Vayne down about 20 against the Ezreals. Not actually something normal. You'd expect it because of Vayne's lane presence. It's been tuned down further on this patch, but Relic Shield no longer there. So it's probably unfair to compare it to previous Vaynes, where with double relics we saw Vayne winning the lane. Even with Kleptomancy of all things, when Deft was playing it.
Yeah.
Without as much regen, have to be a bit safer. His ult is already popped here.
Yep, stun is going to come in. Wolf Dazzle comes down. There's the ultimate.
Taric.
Beautiful timing from BBQ, but the cannon barrage is there. Ghost going down low. The heal has to be used. They're focusing.
Double flash.
IgNar, but yeah, the double flash instantly. Perfect timing there from both of them, and that's all of the summoner spells gone from BBQ.
That is the cannon barrage used on bot lane. All summoners down for BBQ. Does this mean the next time Hextech Ultimatum is up, Sejuani makes another visit to the top side? Blossom already reinforcing vision. Thal a level down already. Trying to bait in Crazy here, but Crazy's not taking the bait.
Nope. This time around. Things calming down just a little bit here, but it's still, the gold lead is just not where you'd expect it to be for 3-0. And having that Infernal Drake is a huge deal for SKT, so...
CS leads, Kleptomancy, and like you say, the Infernal does answer a lot of the early things that BBQ have been able to put up. So maybe the mistakes from Blossom will not actually be the deciders. They're turning on to Thal. I mentioned this could happen, but he's all alone.
Yeah, Blossom's going to turn up though, and Crazy realizes that this isn't the fight that he wants. Has to flash himself out. No hookshot to get over that wall.
Q-max is often what we see in lane. You can max hookshot as well, but that's normally the jungle max. So walk back up, summoner down, but control on the top side. You'll notice a litany of wards does provide very real safety for the Gangplank, who will be scaling. In mid lane, the Kassadin already has the Abyssal Mask and is doing very decently in trades.
Yeah, Fake is having a great time against Tempt.
FLICKR can overtake this game if it continues to extend, if BBQ aren't actually up the ante, and that's why you see BBQ, the ones making the proactive moves.
Drop barrage, bang. Gonna help out with the wave clear. That's cute, Crazy. They spot Blossom, immediately pivots. Not gonna go in for this fight.
Knight still taking on FLICKR for lane control, doesn't have the teleport to try to collapse on the top side, but that'll be a later thing.
Only just flashed, as you can see.
Yeah, we missed that one. But you can tell that Tempt uses ult and forced flash.
IgNar in a whole host of trouble. He's gonna get
Unbreakable the
stunned
one way.
up. And FLICKR is so sticky now. There's no flash available. He just uses his stopwatch to try and give Ghost an opportunity to come in, but that's not enough, and FLICKR grabs the first kill for SKT. Exactly the man who you want to be picking up this money.
A lot of cross-map opportunities this game, with players going missing and also showing up on sides where they don't have any control. Mid lane, looking onto Tempt.
Yeah, flag and drag. Gets the flash actually as Tempt gets knocked up. Ignite goes down and FLICKR picks up 2 kills in quick succession.
That was really nice from Blossom. Great mechanics on the EQ flash. Locks up Tempt. We knew already that his ultimate was down. This is the steadying moment for SKT. This is where the early game counts for a lot less than it did a couple of moments ago. Lane control extends in the bot side for Bang, and SKT find themselves in a 500 gold lead after a horror early game for their jungle.
Still options here for BBQ. Down by too much. You just get so worried when FLICKR starts a game at 2-0-0. Completely evening things up with Tempt. And actually going to lose a bunch of creeps here in the mid as well. Level 11 for FLICKR is, well, not going to have a great time. As Bono, right place, right time, gets himself a flash for free.
Use the ult here to stop this being the minion wave that ends the laning phase topside. And they're going to, on the bottom side, as you can see, play the Gangplank advantage of ulting one minion wave and collapsing on the bot side. It's a good cross-mapping from SKT. We'll get them first brick. First turret blood at 14.5 minutes. Rapturous applause from the fans. They know that SKT have steadied the ship that was looking very leaky just 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, and this is a huge deal as well, because we were talking about mentality for SKT in their previous matches. Looked like they were potentially getting tilted, not feeling like they really wanted to be there after losing a map and things like that. And it certainly can happen when you've had the start to the season that they've had. This time though, especially in Blossom's case, managing to turn around what was a horror beginning to this game certainly is good news.
Now really isn't an item discrepancy, despite being the better part of 7 camps behind the enemy jungler. 24th advantage for the Gangplank, does Gangplank things, who's gone very competitive in CS, even dying once, so hasn't been BBQ denying CS. They've been trying to play the map aggressively. And speaking of aggression.
Yep, Tempt is going to push the Pirate over the wall. Beautiful chaining of CC from Crazy there as Bono turns up.
Nice.
Grabs himself an assist, and yeah, that was stunning.
Yeah, it's beautiful play there. They will take the top lane turret, but BBQ need more plays like that. They're going to feel pressured to continue this sort of game, and a second Infernal spawns, so the timing is not ideal either. FLICKR's looking to try and catch Ghost in rotation. There should be a second Infernal to the side of SKT.
Well, it's going to be BBQ turning up, but I see SKT know exactly what's going on. Crazy's going to take down that top outer turret like you were talking about, but still. Don't know whether that's going to be worth it. We've been scaling so much so far today.
4 kills, bar 1 on BBQ onto the Azir, who will be bullish that he can dominate the game, but Kassadin already impressively strong at the 16-minute mark. Double Infernal already complete as well. They opted into a very low presence bot lane with the Vayne after the Vayne nerfs went live on patch 8.2, and there were no Relic Shields either to keep him sustained up in lane. When you had Relic Shield, you could look for the aggressive tumble, then fall back to double Relic Shield procs when the minion wave came in. Now you have to be more defensive, you're on the back foot a lot more when you have less sustain. That means that we've seen nothing from Ghost this game. They will really need to justify the Vayne pick in team fights. Otherwise, it's another one of the reasons why the bot side has lost pretty heavily while all the action has been top side.
Yeah. Speaking of top side as well, Thal seems like he's happy to build either the Essence Reaver again, potentially, or going for that Ghost Blade.
Yeah, could definitely be the choice here. We'll wait and see. That's how comfortable he's feeling. If he gets the BF Sword Gold, it'll certainly be big.
Blossom not feeling too harassed here, so Rift Herald could be an option. IgNar does get the vision down, though. SKT, man advantage certainly here.
Now the awkward thing for the side of BBQ is that they're probably going to have to give this up, although I say that, they come to contest because Ghost is here.
Yep, FLICKR's in as well. Bastion's down on top of him, so the Dazzle gets Tempt all the way out of there. Blossom gets his way back in and gets himself the Rift Herald. Cataclysm onto 3, but he might actually be stuck in the wrong place. He has to use the stopwatch because the ultimate was not quite there in time as Ghost is going to get taken down. The third one for FLICKR. 100% kill contribution and kill taking here for the man in the mid lane himself. FLICKR's taken this game just by himself.
And even objectives here for SKT are overwhelming that of BBQ. The first Infernal, understandable, focus on the kills. Now the kills and objectives going their ways. They turn on FLICKR.
Yeah, Cast Curse is pretty horrendous right here as FLICKR's just going to be taken down. Tempt locks up that kill. Rift Herald, not sure what he was doing there, just chilling casually, I guess.
Yeah, was summoning it, trying to break mid lane turret through all this. Didn't know the vision control that BBQ had in the area, so Rift Herald counts for nothing. They get an answering kill, but BBQ know this is only the start. Still a long way from Infinity Edge onto Ghost. Had the BF Sword, just picked up Berserker's Greaves. 2-item Vayne is going to have to dominate team fights, outplay things like the Kassadin and the Gangplank barrels. Otherwise, the bot side being passive and just giving up a turret basically in the 1v1, 2v2 I should say, is going to be the big difference between the two teams, despite the early game from Blossom being a low light lead.
Yeah, and also just despite the start of the game actually looking great for players like Tempt, grabbing 2 kills really, really early. Crazy as well, 1-0 and 3 now on the Camille, but still feels like SKT are actually playing better as a unit.
Especially when they're in 3s and 4s. When it's just Blossom, he can be exposed. When Blossom and Thal combine, sometimes they misjudge, but basically whenever the play involves one of FLICKR, Bang and Wolf, they've been a lot more on point. They turn on to Thal.
Yeah, gets the movement speed though from the barrels.
No ultimatum available, still on cooldown for a couple more seconds. Tempt has a lot of money, so he does have plenty of wave clear available in mid unless he's chunked down, and IgNar's there to stop that happening.
Yeah. Bang. Bit of damage here, but the dive is on.
FLICKR.
Cannon Barrage comes down, instant exhaust from IgNar to stop FLICKR from getting the work done. They've run out of minions, so Bang's not going to be able to take down this turret. Not exactly a successful dive, but they grab 2 summoner spells from Tempt.
That does register from Bono as well, but they're going to try and return. Azir's in base. He's most of their gold. Very difficult for them to protect. That's not something that Vayne provides in this scenario. They'll want the turret now. But they start to walk up, and that does halt SKT.
Now, Static Shiv, thankfully, going to give Vayne at least something as far as killing a group of creeps. But isn't too worried about it. So I'll get himself back down here and Remembering that SKT are feeling okay about scaling, really. Got themselves the Gangplank and the Kassadin.
No sheer scaling advantage, but
yeah,
I'm a bit skeptical of the Vayne actually being able to pull off the potential, kind of like the Nasus in game 1 of the day.
It's like theoretical scaling, but in practice could be more difficult. The Nasus certainly was.
Always a big fan of reliability. When a champion with high reliability has the right numbers and runes and things working.
We're having another Ryze conversation, aren't we?
Yep. And Ryze is one of the reasons why he's permabanned. Gangplank's reliability with Klepto is right up there. So many ways to generate gold. Play multiple lanes. They're going to look to turret dive Thal.
Yep. Crazy doesn't find the stun unless the oranges were eaten extremely early. Ultimatum flies forward as Bono's going to be able to pick up the turret aggro, but teleport coming in. And Faker's got teleport ignite as well, guys, as he makes his way into this fight. Rift Walk slows down Bono, and he's just charging it up over and over again. Lichbane in the back pocket of the Kassadin.
He doesn't have presence of mind, so he can't chase on for the second kill because he went the sorcery this time out. So it does slow him down. Teleport Ignite for just a short amount of time. Always amusing. Solo queue approved now for FLICKR.
Yeah.
Watching the mid lane. They want to push on, and Ghost still only has the Shiv, no Infinity Edge, so it requires Tempt to reinforce. SKT can drag BBQ ragged with the 1-3-1, unless Crazy can kill the Gangplank on site. That's why Gangplank is going to build into the Sterix Gauge and be able to largely outlast the damage from Crazy in the 1v1. So 1-3-1 is what we said that SKT is strongest at. Once they had already very early rotation the Gangplank and the Kassadin. Right now it doesn't look like there's any answers for the 1-3-1 from BBQ. It'll be a free Drake passed over to Bang & Wolf on the bot side, and they're going Tempt hunting.
Yeah, he's going to be able to find Blossom here. He just blast cones his way over. Faker turns up. And side lane Azir once again. We saw Faker doing this in game number 1, but Tempt is on clearing duty. Only that bottom outer turret has fallen so far for SKT. Still haven't been able to push that any further forward, and it was answered pretty quickly by Crazy. Just trying to shove out as, another very proactive cannon barrage. Decent Glacial Fissure. The Ignite's ticking, but the heal's enough to keep IgNar alive. Faker, he just really wants to try and get onto IgNar here, but they'll settle for the turret.
Kill was a bonus. The turret is the objective they wanted. They were denied taking it much earlier because the Rift Herald push was screwed up in the mid lane. This time they get it by hook or by crook. Infinity Edge complete on this back, so a big complete purchase. About 2250 gold by Ghost to actually finish that one up. Means he has more power. Still going to be low on sustain. Just only going to be the fleet footwork. Can they make fights work where they get value out of the Vayne? They get justification for the late draft of the Vayne here. It could have been a Sivir. It could have been a lot of other champions tuned for longer games with more lane presence. Vayne walks up, looking at the stats here. Clearly 50% crit from the Shiv and the Infinity Edge. Let's go for more, I imagine.
Yep. Next Zeal item to come in after that, you could imagine.
Want to consider Phantom Dancer, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's what I was sort of hoping for as well, Papa.
Phantom Dancer maybe later in the game if they're looking to close something like a rapid fire kind of changeover, but I think given how close quarters Vayne fights in 550 or less range, probably going to have to be Phantom Dancer.
Crazy still looking for more. Ravenous Hydra going to be item number 2 after that Trinity Force completion. Like the fact that he's focusing on damage, because a lot of this game, like you mentioned before, hinges on whether or not Crazy beats Thal in a 1v1. Like it's almost it, right?
Does feel like that's one of the few ways that BBQ can actually influence lane assignment. Either rushing an objective like the Baron and forcing people to teleport, or actually having a winning 1-3-1 lane matters a lot against Kassadin and Gangplank. No guarantees about that one as this red buff really wants to reset. Blossom will take it in the end.
Yeah, denying it from... Oh, no, Bang's already got theirs. Never mind. Both red buffs now available for SKT. Still Faker sitting on 100% of the kills.
Same scoreline, actually, as opposing number.
Yeah.
It's a mid laner's paradise. 8 of the 9 kills going to Tempt and FLICKR. All SKT wants to do is to create a situation where Kassadin's topside with teleport. He'll have to change over to that as Ignite right now. The Gangplank is bot side, and wherever they decide to fight, if it's around the Kassadin, then they'll just throw in a Gangplank ultimate and be kind of 5v4 in that scenario. And speaking of Gangplank ultimates...
Yeah, another cannon barrage so proactively. Bono has an opportunity for an ult as Thal's in trouble. Emperor's Divide, but the flash is there. Oh, not quite enough. The Conquering Sands. quite having the range
Doesn't
to get
have
rid
a
of
minion
Thal.
wave, so won't get mid lane turret to punish this. So only a cannon barrage and the flash of the Gangplank gets them top lane outer turret. Crazy. Eventually going to put together the bot lane outer turret, but lower value with Baron buff on the menu.
Still, it's a trade. The BBQ not going to be feeling too bad. Only 3,000 gold the lead here for SKT, as their superior map movements has certainly got them into a great spot. But you're right, the more they can push these waves forward, close the jungle off for BBQ, the better.
Bang, just ulting waves off cooldown, getting a bit of information if they can see the items on the respawning members of BBQ. Again, the only real good news story is that Tempt is a Void Staff away from a pretty fearsome early game Azir build.
Yeah.
And they haven't lost control of their top blue side jungle. That's now the most important place for BBQ to control. Baron damage from SKT is pretty damn decent. It's not massive. They don't have a mid laner with big threat on Baron, but they have a great turn off Baron. Gangplank can be bot lane, ult behind the people coming to contest it. FLICKR's hit level 16. You know this is the point where Rift War can really overtake a game.
And Wolf keeps them alive forever.
Yep, that is definitely the recipe for an SKT Baron start and turn. Talked about it a couple times already, but no presence of mind might hurt them if it's extended enough. They're trying to actually kill Bono, then turn onto another target. Then he's likely to run out of mana with the Rift War. That's a bit more conservative with the sorcery being taken this game. Bono was caught around that exact brush that SKT has stacked on in previous game that gave up the Baron early into it. Needs to be very careful. They don't have the top lane outer turret. Feels like a replay. What we saw earlier in the series, game 1.
Bit of a mana issue as well coming out for FLICKR. So just as far as mana pool, doesn't have a Seraphs or anything in this particular build. I like it for just flat damage, but it's a bit more of like a burst mage Kassadin move, not wanting to rift walk around a fight.
And if the burst opportunities aren't Ghost, you're going to have a bit of a struggle trying to take someone down. So I take your point. It means the Baron setup's going to have to be so precise. They're going to really have to bait it in with a smart Gangplank ult. Level 16 just hit on the Gangplank as we discuss him. Crazy ahead in experience, marginally ahead in items, but not really relevant. I should say gold, not items, of course, because of Kleptomancy.
Yep.
Can't really influence the map because all the vision control is being spent not giving Baron over to SKT. Crazy that the right move is to just kind of 5-man sit on a Scuttle Crab and hope for a face check. That's the right move there from SKT.
Certainly been hanging around here waiting for minion waves to cross past that river.
Bang loves to go on roams to kill top laners, but also can turn onto the Mountain Drake.
Yeah, he's been killing a lot of dragons by himself so far today. SKT got a few of them in game number 2. Thal's going to turn up, help him out, so this one will go down for free. So 4 out of the 4 dragons going over to SKT. It's like BBQ are saying, well, we don't care about the late game because we will beat you early, but that's straight up not what they're doing. So difficult.
And you kind of get it, right? Because Azir Vayne, in theory, is like, whoa, massive damage. They're going to outplay. It's just actually outplaying in this game against Gangplank Barrels, Gangplank Ultimate, and a Kassadin, who is basically free-farmed, is really difficult to do. Any chunk onto the Vayne, even just a true shot barrage before a fight starts, it's going to take time to lifesteal up. It's going to take time to keep the Vayne alive. There's no big items yet to really extend her life. Only a locket onto Braum in that particular way. It's going to be double locket very soon, as you can see Sejuani working on the Aegis as well. But I remain to be convinced that the Vayne was the right draft, barring some amazing mechanics by Ghost in a team fight.
Yeah, because the more items FLICKR gets, he's now got a needlessly large rod building towards basically anything, most likely.
At some point, you know, REQ almost one-shot.
That's what I'm thinking, man. Like, it's getting harder and harder to be Ghost.
All right, Crazy. Can you kill Thal in the side lane?
He's going to be able to get the hook shots.
He gets Taric, that's something.
Yeah.
There's a cooldown he can work on. He can always return. That means that Gangplank will be recalling for now. At the same time, SKT push up the vision. What did we say they had to control BBQ? They have to keep vision around this area. Control wards right now, not the most in their inventory. Sejuani has 2, 3 for Braum, no others. So they need a team effort here. Something like a Doran Shield from Ghost kind of has to be sold for a control ward to actually keep any sort of control in the blue side.
Yeah, both teams getting so antsy right now. You can see the pings from both sides. Bono doesn't want to face check SKT. They're in position. The Dazzle comes down. Decent stuns onto BBQ as Ghost. He's free hitting in the backline. Cosmic Radiance not quite doing enough. As I don't know what Tempt just did just there, but it looked weird. It's going to be one kill going down, but it's answered almost immediately by SKT. And Ghost, he got one, but it's traded 1 for 3 in favor of SKT.
Yeah, that terrain is so awkward for Vayne to work. She dies with flash available. Ghost has not been flashing much in this series because there's nowhere for her to kite to the moment that the AoE came down. And SKT, they're going to roll an inhibitor. Do they want more?
I don't know. They got a Mountain Drake, they got double Infernal, they've got so much damage. The Lichbane from FLICKR means that he does a heck of a lot of work as well.
Only Crazy going to try and buy time.
Yeah, but there's so much damage on the side of SKT. Nexus turret number 1 is going to fall down. Nexus turret number 2 and a Braum are going to go, and SKT in 31 minutes shore up Game 3 against BBQ. Their first win out of 6 matches. Huge stuff for SKT.
SK Telecom T1 extended their longest losing streak, but they do not extend it to 6. 5 in a row. The patch changes, and SKT come in strong. They do win against BBQ. It was with a new player, so with Blossom and Thal, these super rookies, they're able to get over the line, but not by much, Atlas. This was a very long series where they made some clear mistakes. There is still plenty of bug fixing to do. Sneaky would look at this and definitely say, well, there's definitely some issues here to work through. Yeah. But it was still an improvement. It was still the best SKT we've arguably seen all season, because their win over the Rocks Tigers first up was not particularly convincing either. So SK Telecom T1, their fans will rejoice. The streak is over. Only upwards from there, as now BBQ have to take stock of the fact that Trang and Bono, who played good, made some mistakes, where their season is at after the loss also has to be looked at.
Yeah, I think that they can still be proud of themselves. I mean, 74-minute game. They were able to actually take down as well. We're able to find some good ganks in the early stages of this one, but FLICKR got so many of those kills that SKT were able to orchestrate in the mid-game. Just felt like the best player in the world was on a mission to get SKT one win back in Game 3.
And he put up his hands on 8.2 Kassadin when people said maybe this champion's out of the meta because of the single target changes, was able to shrug that off. Shrug also his jungler passing over kills to the enemy mid laner. They were able to outlast, and we never saw justification for the Vayne draft. It gave nothing to BBQ in this game. So BBQ, things to work on, so too with SKT, but the feel-good story for the SKT fans is that they finally won. That part is what they can rejoice about. But both these teams have a lot of work to do if they're actually going to be able to assault the top 5 spots as the season goes on. Yeah. We're only 7 series in for both of them. There's still 11 to go. There's still plenty of season for SKT and BBQ.
Yeah, we're talking about multiple world champion titles on SKT, escaping 9th place. And when that's the conversation you have to caveat all of these stories about them winning this series, because this was extraordinarily close.
It was grueling. It was close. There were good plays, there were bad plays. No one really comes away entirely unscathed. Mistakes abound. It did feel like bottom 5 teams playing against each other, which is what SKT fans really wanted to avoid. They wanted to win, and they wanted to feel great about the win. They kind of got somewhere halfway down there where it was an improvement, but with enough fixing, they will think that they can still be involved in the top 5. Bono on your screen. Made some mistakes with the face checks. Another one around the same area. Accelerated the end of Game 3 that did end around the 30-minute mark. Very interesting series, Atlas. And we still have an amazing one after the break.
Oh, yes, we do.
We all experienced something. We lived through a very long SKT versus BBQ series. Fans will hope they've lived through the worst of SKT's start to the season. But we don't have the answers. We only have more questions after this game.
Yeah, and I thought that we were going to get some, Papa. I thought that this was going to be an opportunity to find out whether SKT could turn it around. The fact that Blossom was coming into the lineup actually made me hopeful that some new blood was going to be an opportunity.
What's your takeaway? Because Blossom played,
I thought, high highs but low lows as well. I feel like green is certainly something that you take away from Blossom's performance.
He looked like a guy who had spent a lot of time in solo queue, clearly has some good natural instincts, but wasn't ready for the competitive game day one. And that's most of the promising solo queue talent. Not many people can come in day one as an 18-year-old and dictate games. You could argue in game 1 he did that. He was the MVP of game 1, and that much made a lot to SKT. There were also the issues. He'll talk to FLICKR as we were seeing on the screen. He will learn from the run. Blossom should only get better here, and that is good news for SKT, as is the victory.
Yeah, extraordinarily close as far as maximum damage done for those 3 members, but Thal, extraordinarily proactive cannon barrages, really helping SKT out. FLICKR, so good. The fact that he mowed down the last team fight as well, singling out targets and destroying them.
And I think SKT fans look at this and say, I wish we had another 10 best of 3s in the season to give more experience to Thal and Blossom. It feels like that duo has a lot to be excited about, and that means that Untara and Blank can spend a lot of time on the side working up their champion pools and confidence to come back. FLICKR predictably the MVP here. The sorcery was to take Gathering Storm. In the end, not having presence of mind wasn't something that could be punished as the game ended so early. The mana costs were not a big issue. Couple of people walked up. This is after, of course, all the individual mistakes by Blossom much earlier in the game. Were able to pick up some kills. The Kassadin was never well held. The Kassadin was largely free farming, and that ended up being enough for SKT1. That was a sick EQ flash, by the way.
Really cute. So showing that Blossom certainly has the mechanics, sometimes isn't necessarily doing the most intelligent maneuvers around this map. 3-man Cataclysm as well. Blossom still needs a shout out in the high moments because it certainly was a brilliant addition to the team.
Swear BBQ just get chased down predictably, right? Ezreal and Kassadin, you know what's going to happen. Very nice turnaround from Thal on the bot side here. FLICKR did teleport in, but this is more about Thal having some dance moves, doing his best Khan impression on that one.
Pick the gap on the True Shot Barrage there as well. Shout outs to Bang.
See him in the next series. I want to say next and second, said Necken. That's not a word.
The Necken series.
And this is where the next series was summoned, because no ability for Ghost to get any value. First Cosmic Radiance, then Cataclysm. Nowhere to go. Cataclysm
on top of the Cannon Barrage there as well. Just really nice stuff.
That's why you asked the question,
and
what did he think would happen in this game? And a fight in the mid lane was the only way you were going to avoid that sort of AoE layering by SKT.
Means that now we are going to be able to have a chat with both FLICKR and Blossom. See what Blossom feels about being on SKT. So for some translation, let's throw it over to our old mate Joe.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joe with your interview translations. We are here with SK Telecom. It's kind of weird to have not said this for a while, but they do get a victory this time around. And we will have an interview with today's MVPs, Blossom and FLICKR. FLICKR, it's been a long time since we saw you here. You finally ended the loss streak. How do you feel? First of all, we had question marks on whether we can win this series today. But you know, our scrims haven't been great. I have been okay, but it always seemed like the competitive play has been the one that's lacking, and I think that this game today will give us a lot of confidence in there later on. And I know that Blossom, you know, a lot of people have been hyping about you, about your potential, but were you not nervous today? Yeah, when I get nervous, I think a lot more. But I think that little overcomplicated a lot of things, and but keeping it simpler should be a little bit better for next time. It was definitely your debut, and yeah, I was really nervous, but I just acted like I was really not nervous. So. And it was your debut, but you definitely did help out in ending your team's loss streak, and you did get an MVP as well. How do you feel altogether? I think for the 20 years of my life that I've been living so far, this is the happiest day of my life. FLICKR, how do you see, you know, Blossom being so happy right now? He's a very pure guy. Did you lose your little bit of purity? Oh yes, I did. Quite a while back. So, you know, before we get on to the actual games, and you know, we want to talk about the kind of the off-game thing where, you know, you really had to endure the loss streak, and it was a lot of struggle for you guys. I mean, it's been about when the games ended in the recent times where we just kind of talked about, you know, let's do better next time, and it has been that kind of the repetitive conversation that we had for multiple series now, and
열심히 하자 분위기가 좀
You know,
더
we,
많이.
but I was glad that our teammates were always willing to cheer each other up even through our losses.
1세트 MVP를 이제 잭스로
And you did get the MVP Blossom with the Jax in game 1. And we thought that the gank that you got in the early game was the most significant. Would you like to explain that situation?
지금 화면이 나오고 있어요.
부드럽게. 저기서 제가 그 중간에 한번 자르반이 보였을 거예요. 저기
I think Jarvan should have saw me from that angle, so I was thinking that I might have been caught in that angle, but
딱 바텀 갱 이쪽 바텀 쪽이다 생각하고
But I just thought, bottom was open right there, and my teammates agree with that. The gank would be good to go with that. So went in, it was a lot of instinctual plays that went well for us.
동화를 듣는 듯한.
네, 옆에서 듣는 것 같아요.
네, 아주 생생하게 뭐 눈앞에 그려지고 있습니다. 여기서 1세트를 어쨌든 뭐
Ending up in game 1 as the MVP.
오늘 굉장히 특이했던 것이
I felt like what today's special
모두 아지르를
was the fact that you guys, both teams really went with the Azir and really valued that champion quite highly.
일단 지금 다른 미드 챔피언들이 이 버전에서는 너프가 많이 됐거든요.
A lot of the mid champions right now have been nerfed in the very recent patch, and
뭐 그렇게 하면 일단 미드에서
it's really up to what has been nerfed the least, and then I think for what we have available, Azir really holds its value from the early game all the way to the late game, so it's a very valid use.
1세트에서 명장면 중 하나가 블라썸 선수가 미드 쪽으로 돌파해서
We thought that one of the highlights in game 1 was when you suddenly dived in mid lane with the Jax, and
이런 거 판단은 좀 팀적으로 하시나 아니면
did you make your independent choice on that one, or was that a team call?
물렸다고 소리 듣고 제가 그냥
We heard that the bottom has been killed out, so I knew that I was really near the turret, so trying to go in pretty quickly and try to get as much damage as I can.
그렇죠.
But it was definitely due to my teammates holding up the other lanes that allowed me to do that successfully.
그 사실 막 미니언이 막 밀 것 같기도 하고 뭐 그런 장면도 있었는데 근데 2세트 때는 또 굉장히 힘든
And game 2 was a struggle, to say the least, for you guys.
버티는 듯한 그런 느낌이었어요.
And it felt like you guys were defending most of the part instead of trying to attack the opposition base there.
버텼나요?
저는 속으로 약간 지네어전 생각이 나긴
It kind of reminded me of the Jin game, and it's kind of a nightmare that was.
그래서
It just naturally came to mind, and
바론까지 나갔을 때
after the 3 inhibitors and went down, and the Baron went down as well, and the opponent pretty much did have everything at that moment.
좀 자신 있게 싸우면
But we just thought that I think we should have been a little more confident in initiating the fights, even though they were a little bit behind.
중국에서 2위까지 치고 올라갔었거든요. 아쉬워하거나 그런 거 없나요?
And were you not satisfied? Were you not disappointed with some of the things that went down? I think I'm okay with game 2.
약간 블라썸 선수의 움직임에 대해서
너무 재밌었어요.
약간 상남자 아니냐.
And we thought that Blossom's movements were very intriguing, and that was a little bit less human-like, but more animal-like in your instincts, the way you moved around.
갑자기 막 툭 튀어나와가지고 암살자 챔피언류를 좋아하기 때문에
I really like the assassin-type champions, and I knew that I could have the animal instincts, I should say, to go out and kill people. And of course, my teammates allow me to play that kind of play style, so that allowed me to really play true to my form. And if I just reduce my deaths a little bit, I think that would have been a more successful debut for me.
페이커 선수가 바라보실 때는 블라썸 선수 어떤 점이
FLICKR, what do you think of Blossom right now as a player?
약간 좀 일단
He's a bit,
아까 말했듯이 좀 순박한 모습이
like I said before, pure guy is all I can describe him as.
약간 얘가 생각 없이 게임하는 것 같은데
It seems like he doesn't think that much when he's playing, and
각을 잘 보는 것 같아.
sometimes that's a good reason, because he doesn't really have to think, overcomplicate things before he goes in.
네.
제가 포장을 한 것 같네요. 3세트에서 또 카사딘으로.
And let's go over to game 3, where you did pick out the Kassadin.
카사딘이 사실은 좀 페이커 선수에게 아픈 손가락일 수도 있었는데.
And of course, that Kassadin could have been really an Achilles heel for you, having not brought the best results in recent times.
이거는 말해드릴 수 없고요.
I can't tell you, about my relationship with using Kassadin, but though we did lose out with that champion before, but I really don't think about my past stats when it comes to picking champions, and I just think of the champion as is.
되게 들어가는 조합으로 잘
And we had the composition that really fit Kassadin very well, so there was no reason to decline it.
그렇죠. 지금 3세트 얘기하는데 또 느낌이 기분 탓인지 모르겠는데 블라썸 선수가 살짝 긴장하는 것 같아요.
And game 3, we're talking about it right now. We're just chatting pretty peacefully, but Blossom seems pretty nervous about this entire chat, not even talking to him at the moment.
살짝 말리고 시작했어.
그냥 그게 그냥 사영이 형은 딱 그냥 잠깐만 미드 좀.
You know, FLICKR kind of asked me, you know, to try and see if mid was okay to gank, but I went with his Azir, and I came in with the EQ and the kind of the rune from his opponent, kind of procced, kind of unluckily for me.
네, 한 5렙 제가 한 20초 전쯤에 불렀는데.
Yeah, I called him in when I was like 20 seconds before level 5, and he came in a little bit early, so he just kind of came in by himself and died by himself, and I just couldn't do anything about it. Sorry.
네, 그래서 조금 미드가 힘들긴 했습니다.
So he just made the mid lane much harder after that one. But all that matters is the win, and you guys did get the win at the end and after the game. And I know that the expressions of all the players weren't all that happy when it comes to getting the win, but in that kind of fashion. How was it after the game?
주위를 잘 안 봐가지고 잘
You know, I didn't really look around after the game.
엄청 좋아하셨던 것 같아요.
I think the coach was happy though. That's a good thing.
들어오면서 우승이라고 하시더라고요.
The first thing I heard when I heard him come was victory. So perhaps that means something there. And maybe this might be a sign where SKT picks it right back up and starts a win streak.
부활했다기보다는 그냥 땅속에 지금 묻혀 있는데.
You know, I think it's not a revival. We're still like
안에서 이제 흙을 좀
we're still underground at the moment. We're trying to pick up the dirt piece by piece and hopefully see the light very very soon. Blossom, your MVP with your debut match. Anything you'd like to say?
제가 열심히 하겠습니다.
I'll try hard. That's all he said. I promise. What, FLICKR, you got anything longer to say?
부진한 모습을 많이.
I know that we've been struggling and have been disappointing in recent times, and it has been something that we want to pick up on and try to get better results for the next rounds. And that will be Blossom and FLICKR, the MVPs of SKT's finally the winning series. And we will gonna be heading back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. Great to hear from Blossom there, even if he was just a little bit nervous being on TV for the first time.
We all lived something, Atlas, in the 3.5 hours that this series went. Game 1 seems like a long time ago, where SKT and their jungler picked up his first MVP on his first game. What a
At least
debut.
2 hours ago.
Then there was 74 minutes to dream for BBQ Olivers. SKT and 70-minute games do not go well together, it turns out, when it comes to victories. And then third one mercifully short, 31 minutes and you average. What does that mean for the standings? Well, not much. SK Telecom does remain in 9th spot. Game score keeps them behind Hongdu Monster and BBQ. But it will mean so much for the confidence of both their fans and their players. Even Coma will breathe a sigh of relief. 5 losses in a row arrested. We'll be playing against KSV this week. Again, KSV out of form on Sunday at the Gangnam Stadium. But tonight, oh boy, that was only the entree. We've still got a main course for you, OGN Legion. KT Rolster versus Kingzone, the battle for first.
This is one of those nights where you go to the restaurant and the entree is just way too big.
I know.
It's so huge.
But you know what? You still damn want that main
Exactly, because the restaurant's so damn good.
Yeah.
You still gotta eat it, and that steak is coming up for you in about 20 minutes, guys. So no huge breaks tonight. We are gonna have, about 20 minutes, and then we're ready to go. See you later.
Coming up next, AT Rolster, King Zone Dragon X, beginning of the end. 2018 League of Legends Champions Korea Spring Split.